Samuel didn't flinch. Not when Ryan puffed his chest like a guard dog. Not when Becky stepped out of her SUV like she owned every inch of asphalt. Her heels clicked against the driveway Samuel had paved. She took a slow look around, lips curling as if she was inspecting a stain. "Samuel, right?" she said, like she already knew, like his name was on a list somewhere. "That's me," he said. His voice was calm, measured, the kind of calm that made people lean in to see if it was real. "I'm sure you understand," Becky began. "We have certain standards here in Fair Oaks, certain protocols." Samuel nodded. "Protocols?" He kept his eyes steady on hers. He wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of looking away. Ryan shifted, smirking like a kid who knew the principal was on his side. "You can't just walk around taking pictures of houses," Ryan added. "People might think you're casing the place." Samuel's jaw tightened. He'd heard that phrase before, casing the place. A phrase that sounded harmless until you realized what it really meant. "I'm not taking pictures," Samuel said. "I'm checking on my work." "Your work?" Becky tilted her head, pretending to be confused. "You mean you work for the company that does the landscaping?" Samuel stepped forward, slow. "Not for the company. I am the company. I built this street. I designed half these homes." Becky blinked. The smile didn't break, but the corners twitched. Ryan laughed again, that same disrespect dripping from every syllable. "Sure you did," he said. "Next, you'll tell us you own the place." Samuel took a breath, the kind that settles deep in the chest. "You think I'm here by accident?" he asked. "You think this neighborhood just appeared?" Ryan opened his mouth, but Becky held up a manicured hand. "Look, Samuel," she said, the tone slipping from polite to patronizing. "It's nothing personal. We just like to keep our community safe. We don't want people lingering." Samuel smiled, but it wasn't friendly. "You mean people like me?" Her smile faltered. "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to," Samuel replied. His voice was still calm, but now it carried weight. The kind of weight that makes people straighten their backs. "All right," Becky said, glancing toward the street like she was ready to wrap this up. "I think we've made ourselves clear." Samuel didn't move, and that stillness made her pause. "You ever hear the phrase written in stone?" Samuel asked. Becky frowned. "What?" He gestured to the sidewalk beneath them. "When I poured this, I scratched my initials into the corner. It's still there, under your feet. This neighborhood remembers me, even if you want to forget." Ryan scoffed. "You're making this weird, man." But Becky didn't say anything. She was staring at Samuel now, really staring, as if something in his voice had struck deeper than she wanted to admit. Then the sound came, a low rumble in the distance. Not a car, not thunder. It grew louder, closer. Becky turned her head just as a black SUV rolled up the street. Not HOA, not local police. The vehicle stopped at the curb. Two men stepped out, suits, sunglasses, no smiles. They didn't look at Ryan. They didn't look at Becky. They looked straight at Samuel. One of them spoke, voice clipped and professional. "Mr. Carter, we need you to come with us." Becky's eyes darted between them. "Is there a problem?" she asked, trying to mask the edge in her voice. The man didn't answer her. Neither did Samuel. He just stood there, unreadable. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. "What's going on? Is he in trouble?" Samuel finally turned his gaze toward Ryan. A hint of something, pride maybe, glinting in his eyes. "Not the kind you think." The second man opened the SUV door. "Now, sir." Samuel took one last look at Becky and Ryan. Then he stepped forward. But before he got in, he leaned toward Becky, close enough that only she could hear. "You're about to find out exactly who I am." And with that, he slid into the SUV. The door shut. The engine roared. Becky stood frozen, Ryan shifting beside her, both of them watching the black vehicle disappear down the street. She swallowed hard, because deep down, she knew. Whatever was coming next, it wasn't going to leave Fair Oaks the same. The SUV turns a corner and vanishes. Becky's phone buzzes. It's a number she doesn't recognize. She answers and hears a voice she hasn't heard in years. A voice that says, "Becky, we need to talk. It's about Samuel." The news spread fast, faster than Samuel expected. By dawn, the whole town knew about the barn fire and about how Samuel had run into it. Not to save himself, not even to save his tools, but to save the animals Ryan Miller's father had left inside. A few were lost, but most still alive, because Samuel didn't hesitate. The sheriff came by in the morning, hat in hand, eyes heavy. "You didn't have to do that," he said. Samuel looked at him. "I know, and that was all." The sheriff left with a nod. No ticket, no fine, no quiet warning like before. Word had shifted. The hardware store owner gave him a discount on a few things he needed. The gas station clerk wouldn't take his money for coffee. Even folks who had looked right past him in church now stopped to say hello. But Samuel noticed something else. The Millers? Quiet. Too quiet. He kept working, building, fixing fences, stacking lumber. It was the only way he knew how to breathe. Then one night, 2 weeks after the fire, he found a note in his mailbox. No name, no signature. Just 5 words scrawled in messy black ink. "You should have burned too." Samuel read it twice, slid it into his pocket, and went back inside. The next morning, he noticed the deep ruts in the dirt road outside his home. Fresh tire tracks, too close to his fence, too slow to be passing by. He thought about telling the sheriff, but what would he say? That a man who had already saved half the Miller family's livestock was now afraid they might come for him? They'd say he was imagining it. So he kept quiet and kept working until the night he heard the crunch of gravel outside his window. Samuel stood in the dark, looking through the curtain. A truck sat idling just at the edge of his property. No headlights, no movement, just the sound of the engine. He reached for the old shotgun his father had left him. Not to fire, just to feel the weight of something that could even the odds. The engine cut off. Silence wrapped around the house. Samuel's heart pounded, but his hands stayed steady. Then, a shadow moved along the tree line. Tall, broad-shouldered, deliberate. Samuel didn't move from the window, didn't speak, didn't open the door. The shadow stopped, turned toward him. Even from that distance, Samuel felt the stare. And then it vanished into the woods. He stood there for a long time after, the shotgun still in his hand, listening to nothing but the whisper of wind through the pines. The next morning, he found something nailed to his fence post. A single burnt piece of wood, charred black, with one word carved into it. Respect isn't about titles or money, it's about character. And the ones who judge you by what you lack often can't see the wealth you carry inside.